Hello again, everyone. Welcome back. In this technical analysis of the stock market video, I call it breakout or bull trap because it's a little precarious right now. We've had 4 weeks up in a row. Let's take a look. All right, so I've got the SPX on the screen, but here's what I want to start off with. I want to start off with the Dow and the Dow Industrials and the Dow Transports. So the Dow Industrials are up 491 points when you round it, and the transports were down 96. Now, I've been talking about this for weeks now, that we've got a major divergence between the Dow pushing to new highs and the transports not confirming that. Okay, so that's the big negative. What am I doing with this little circle in here, dashed circle? Well, what I'm doing is showing that we have an even shorter divergence that's showing up in here over the last, 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks. You know, we went to a higher high, not even close to confirming that with the Dow Transports. And the interesting thing, and you're going to see this on all the major indices, is the divergence that's showing up with this last push that's happened in here. Okay, let's go back, take a look at the SPX. So the SPX was up 80 points for the week, up 6.17 on Friday. So I've got the dashed line across the highs in here, same kind of thing, pushing to the upside and not getting confirmed in terms of the RSI, DI plus, which should, when you go to new highs, this should be going to new highs. It's not. And even DI minus did not go to new lows on a push to new highs. So we're getting divergences in all three of these right now on a weekly basis. So watching to see, what do we need to see? We need to see the price action start to break down. We haven't seen a close below like a 2-day low or 3-day low just to even start and get this back below the 10-day moving average over here. So right now, when I'm looking at the Elliott Wave picture on the SPX, let me go to the weekly view, and I'm going to show you this. So here's what I'm looking at. I think that right now, because of the push that we've made higher, well above the January 22nd of 2022, January of 2022 highs, I've decided that this is just way too strong to continue to call it a B wave, an A, B. So I believe right now that we're in a third intermediate wave, but within that third intermediate wave higher, here's the way I'm counting this. 1, 2, 3, strong third wave in here. But within that third wave, this is how it looks to me. So I think that my preferred count says that we have a flat developing. Why? Because we had a very sharp pullback for wave 2. So I'm thinking we got an A, B, C sideways type move for wave 4. The implication being we have a 3, 3, and then a 5-wave move back. What's the alternate? The alternate says, well, it could also be that this is a 1, 2 within the third minute wave. 1, 2, 3. That's the alternate. Okay, so we'll see what plays out. Right now, I'm expecting this to start to roll over. So that's what we're watching for. All right, let's go back to the moving average view. Let's take a look at, go to the weekly, daily, and I want to take a look at the NDX. Okay, so we're getting a similar kind of picture here with the NDX. Up 385 points for the week, and on Friday, let's see, it was down 11.73. So a little bit is of the major indices, this is the only one that closed below the prior day low. Now, that's not huge, not very, the low on Friday really just pulled back to the high that occurred on March 21st. So we'll watch to see. We need more than that. We need it to really roll over hard. But again, we're getting all the same divergences showing up here on the RSI, DI plus, DI minus. So on high alert for this. And the same thing, now, I was going to say same thing for the Russell, but it's not. It's not the same thing. We have not punched a new high in here. And I'm still looking at this as the way I've been looking at it as, a first move down and a second move back up. So right now we're doing the same thing from the standpoint of watching for price action to reverse and break down in here and get below the 10-day moving average, which it hasn't done yet, but that's what I'm expecting. So again, that's what we're looking for. Here's where we sit with the Russell 2000. It was up 377 on the week, up 15 cents on Friday. Okay, let's take a look at one of the indicators that we look at. There's a bunch of these we look at, but here's the percent of stocks above their 20-day or 200-day, sorry, not 20, 200-day on the S&P. Now, this is really interesting because this looks like a potential head and shoulders top to me. Now, again, everything's always a potential until it starts to roll over and play out according to plan. So if this is truly topping out, this is going to start to break down in here. Now, the other interesting thing is look at the data points for this last week. We're just right up in here around 79, hit 80, kind of nudged above 80. We don't have very many times, very many days where we've closed above that 80 level in the last 2.5 years. Okay, we go all the way back to that January 22nd high. You see any days closing above the 80 level in terms of percent? No. Now, there have been in history, yes, but over the last 2.5 years, no. And so again, I'm really, really suspicious about where we're sitting, where we are, and then when I start to see divergences, yeah, it raises a little flag in my mind. So again, I keep thinking, breakout or bull trap? We're about to find out. All right, I wanted for something completely different. Let's take a look at China and see what's going on over there. So I want to look here. Everybody, China was like in the doghouse. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, we're not touching China. It's, we're underweight China, this and that. Well, look what FXI has done. Now, what's interesting about FXI, I call it China Hong Kong, because in FXI, half of the stocks in the index are large caps in the Hang Seng index, I believe, are actually trading in Hong Kong. So it's a little bit of an anomaly, a little bit different, but it's giving you a similar kind of picture in that here we come down, almost putting in a double bottom in here, and now we've been rocketing higher for 5 weeks in a row. Actually, that was a higher close on that week right here, the week of April 14th. Now, in your classic double bottom or kind of thing, you need to close above the midpoint of the high in between those two lows. Well, we're not there yet. And as a caution, we've had this kind of flip before to the upside. So we'll see, do we continue to strengthen? We've had a pretty good run short term. When you look at the bigger picture, take this back out a little bit, that dashed line is the low that occurred in 2008. Okay, so we got very, very close to that here over the last 2.5 years, that October 22 low, and then the low that just occurred here in January of this year. So that's FXI. Now let's take a look at MCHI, which is the China ETF by MSCI. Easy for me to say. And so this is doing a similar kind of thing. I mean, it's showing a similar kind of double bottom in here, similar kind of picture. Now, in terms of what's more liquid, what's traded, FXI is much more heavily traded in here. When I look at the volume on this is weekly. The 20-week volume is about 20 million shares a week on a 20-week average. Okay, well, FXI is a lot higher magnitude, several multiples higher than that. But we're getting a similar kind of picture in here on this in terms of, significant lows, coming off of those lows and rallying hard. So it's going to be interesting to see just how much further do we go? Do we continue? Do we start putting in higher highs? I'd have to say we really haven't done that yet, but it's sure coming off the bottom here pretty nicely. Okay, that's the picture on a couple of key indices over for China, and we'll see how it plays out over the next few weeks and months. All right, if you felt like the video was helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber to the YouTube channel, hit that little subscriber button. And if you'd like more of this information on a regular basis, head on over to joehenches.net. Check out the website and the membership. Everyone, have a great week. We'll see what happens. Breakout or bull trap.